What if a single painting could trap a demon for centuries, and the moment it's restored, pure terror is unleashed? That's the chilling premise of The Well, an Italian horror film that drags you deep into a world of curses, blood, and unspeakable rituals. The story begins in 1993 Italy. Here, we meet Lisa, an antique restoration artist traveling to a town called Sambu. She had been sent there to restore an old painting. Lisa's father was a legendary name in the restoration world, but since he was always busy with high-profile projects, he passed this one on to her. On her way, riding the bus, Lisa encounters three travelers seated nearby: Tracy, Madison, and their guide Tony. Tracy and Madison introduce themselves as biologists. They're headed into the forests of Sambu to study the wildlife there. Lisa explains that her work will keep her in the town itself. Before parting, they all agree to meet up again once their separate tasks are finished so they can explore the city together. Soon after, Lisa and the others split paths. The next morning, we see Lisa waiting at a bus stop. She needed to reach a mansion where the painting was kept. But there she meets Marcus, a local man who tells her no buses ever come to this stop. He offers to take her to the mansion himself. As they walk together, Marcus talks about the history of the mansion's owners, mentioning the current mistress of the estate, Emma, a widow. When they arrive, Marcus points out that his pub is right nearby, meaning they'll likely see each other often. From the very start, there's a spark of attraction between them. Inside the mansion, Lisa meets Emma. She doesn't bother with small talk, no tea, no welcome. Instead, she directly takes Lisa to see the damaged painting. A thick layer of ash covers the canvas. Emma explains that the painting is 500 years old, created by an underrated artist who, despite not being widely recognized, was deeply respected by other famous painters of his time. Recently, a fire had broken out in the house. Though the flames were put out in time, the painting was left in this ruined condition. Lisa examines it carefully and admits it will take at least 2 months to restore. But Emma insists she has only 2 weeks, because the painting is scheduled to be displayed at a famous art gallery. Lisa agrees reluctantly, saying she'll have to sleep in the same room to save time. She gets to work immediately, but soon she hears the faint voice of a young girl singing from the terrace. Following the sound, Lisa spots a girl around 13 to 14 years old singing softly, but as soon as Lisa approaches, the girl runs off without a word. Lisa is left confused. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to Tony, Tracy, and Madison in the forest. Madison and Tracy fall asleep in their tent, while Tony sets up cameras and microphones outside. Later, when he sits down with his headphones, he begins to hear strange noises, as though someone is moving near the microphones. Tony takes a flashlight and goes outside to check. Suddenly, he sees a figure. Alarmed, he screams for help. His voice wakes Tracy and Madison. Madison rushes outside to look for him, while Tracy stays behind in the tent. Madison finds Tony's cap on the ground, and it's smeared with blood. Panicked, she runs back to Tracy. Meanwhile, Madison barely has time to react before something unseen seizes her and drags her away, right in front of Tracy. Shocked, Tracy rushes outside to look for her friend, but before she can even call out, a shadowy figure strikes her head with a heavy wooden stick. She collapses, unconscious. The scene then shifts. Madison regains consciousness inside a dark, dungeon-like chamber. The place is filled with cages and chains, a grim atmosphere all around. To her horror, she realizes she's not alone. Inside with her are Tracy, Tony, and another unknown prisoner, a stranger. All of them are terrified, unable to understand where they've been brought, who captured them, or what fate awaits them. For now, their lives are no longer in their own control. Cut back to Lisa. She's working intently on the restoration. Emma enters, pleased with Lisa's progress, and invites her to dinner with herself and her daughter Julia. Lisa realizes Julia is the same girl she had seen earlier on the terrace, singing. Lisa mentions that Julia had run away upon seeing her, and Emma explains that Julia is extremely shy and avoids interacting with people. During dinner, Lisa tries making small talk and asks Julia about her school. Julia doesn't reply. Instead, she abruptly leaves the table. Emma sighs and explains that Julia suffers from multiple personality disorder. She had been considered dangerous for the other children, which is why Emma had withdrawn her from school. Back in the dungeon, we see the prisoners once again. At the center of the room stands an old stone well, carved with Latin inscriptions and strange spells. Suddenly, a large, brutal-looking man enters. This is Aruna, the one responsible for their capture. Carrying a bucket, Aruna lowers it into the well. The captives plead with him, shouting to be released, but Aruna ignores them. After a moment, he hauls the bucket back up and without warning unlocks Tony's cage. He drags Tony out and savagely beats him, leaving him half dead. Tony, desperate to survive, crawls toward the exit, but Aruna mercilessly slashes his back open with a knife. Then with terrifying strength, he throws Tony's broken body into the well. From inside, we hear a disturbing sound like an animal feasting. The implication is chillingly clear. There's something inside that well, something not human, and Aruna has been feeding it human victims. The focus shifts back to Lisa. She continues her restoration work. By now, about 15% of the painting has been cleared. But as the layers peel away, Lisa begins to see something sinister within the image. The faint outline of a demon. While using her scalpel, Lisa accidentally cuts her finger. A few drops of blood fall onto the painting. She wipes it away and keeps working, unaware of the consequences. Night falls. The electricity goes out. In the darkness, an eerie scene unfolds. An old man suddenly appears in Lisa's room, her father. Without a word, he slits his own throat right in front of her. Lisa screams in terror, but within seconds realizes there's no one there. It was only a vision. Back in the dungeon, the stranger tries prying open a drain cover with a blade, but the metal snaps. Madison hands him her knife, though it's just out of reach. Thinking quickly, the stranger removes his shoe and uses it to drag the knife toward him. Meanwhile, Lisa drifts into uneasy sleep. In her room, a strange woman appears. Her hands are grotesque, claw-like. She lies down beside Lisa, strokes her, and then grips her throat, strangling her. For a moment, we see her face clearly, the monstrous woman pressing down on Lisa. But then Lisa jolts awake. It was a nightmare. She looks toward the painting and gasps. During the night, more of the painting had restored itself. Now, the face of that same monstrous woman from her dream is visible on the canvas. Staring at it in horror, Lisa is interrupted by Julia. Julia warns her, "That woman is Dorca. She was a witch who once lived in this house. The painting is cursed. If you finish restoring it, no one will be able to save you." With those chilling words, Julia storms out, leaving Lisa shaken. Later that night, Lisa seeks comfort at Marcus's pub, confessing her nightmares to him. The story then cuts back to Aruna. Once again, Aruna lowers the bucket into the well again. But this time, what rises up shocks the imagination. The very demon from the painting drips its own blood into the bucket. A bizarre sight, because demons are not supposed to give away their own blood. Aruna pulls the bucket back out, carrying this cursed offering. Then, with terrifying intent, he walks toward the stranger's cell. The truth becomes clear. Aruna trades human flesh to the demon in exchange for its blood. The blood sustains the witches, while the demon feeds on humans. Madison realizes what's about to happen. If the stranger dies, her own chances of survival will vanish. Desperately, she begins hurling insults at Aruna, taunting and provoking him. Her plan works. Enraged, Aruna leaves the stranger and unlocks Madison's cage instead. He drags her out. Madison clings to the cell bars, resisting with all her strength until Aruna brutally hacks off her arm. Screaming, she collapses. Aruna returns with a cruel spiked weapon and begins tearing the flesh from her back, shredding her skin piece by piece. Then, in one of the most horrific acts yet, he gouges out one of her eyes. Madison is barely alive, broken, mutilated, beyond recognition. Finally, Aruna lifts her and throws her into the well. Inside, the truth is revealed in full horror. Bones are scattered everywhere, remains of countless victims. And then, the demon itself emerges clearly for the first time. It pounces on Madison. Alive but helpless, she screams as the beast sinks its teeth into her neck, then rips open her stomach. Within moments, Madison is devoured. The focus shifts to Julia. She stares out the window, watching a couple from afar, tears welling in her eyes. Lisa approaches, noticing Julia crying. Julia confesses that she feels utterly alone. Her mother always thinks only of herself. Emma enters just then and quickly pulls Lisa away. She explains coldly that she doesn't allow Julia outside because the girl is obsessed with dating men far older than her, a disturbing and inappropriate desire. Lisa, still shaken, tells Emma about Julia's warning, that the painting is cursed. Emma brushes it off. That's exactly why she can't be trusted, Emma says. Julia says strange things. Don't listen to her. Just focus on your work. That night, Lisa falls asleep and is trapped in another nightmare. In her vision, Tracy pushes Tony into the room in a wheelchair. His body is mangled, one leg stripped of flesh, one arm torn apart. Tracy begs Lisa for help. Terrified, Lisa later confides in Marcus at the pub, asking him if he has seen the missing tourists. Marcus shakes his head. If any tourists had come through here, I'd know. Lisa returns to the mansion. In the bathroom, she hears strange noises near the bathtub. Slowly, she pulls back the curtain and recoils in horror. Madison's mutilated body lies in the tub, exactly as she had died. Screaming, Lisa bolts for the door, but collides with Emma in the hallway. Emma finds nothing but the faucet running. Lisa insists she saw Madison's corpse, but Emma cuts her off with a harsh warning. If Lisa doesn't finish the restoration on time, there will be severe penalties. Work must come before fear. Reluctantly, Lisa agrees. After all, she had taken the job. She couldn't just walk away. Meanwhile, the stranger finally manages to pry open the drainage cover. He whispers to Tracy that he'll escape and bring help, but the moment he crawls into the passage, the demon strikes. From the darkness, it claws his face, tearing it apart, and drags him into the tunnel. His screams echo as it devours him alive. Tracy watches helplessly, petrified. Back with Lisa, the restoration continues. As more layers are revealed, another figure appears in the painting, the image of a child hanged from a tree, brutally sacrificed. We cut to Emma, sipping a blood-red drink, admiring herself in the mirror. Behind her reflection, Dorca, the witch from Lisa's dreams and the painting, silently appears. The truth snaps into place. Emma and Dorca are witches. They drink the demon's blood to stay eternally young, and in return, they feed it human flesh. Even Aruna, it seems, is part of this pack. He too drinks the blood and serves the witches. Julia, unable to stay silent, finally goes to Lisa again. She explains everything. This painting was made 500 years ago. My mother, Dorca, and others once sacrificed a boy named Billy, the same boy you now see hanged in the painting. With his death, they summoned and trapped the demon Goran, binding it with a 500-year curse. Every 5 centuries under the blood moon, the curse awakens again. If this painting is fully restored and the moonlight touches it, the cycle will restart. For another 500 years, my mother and Dorca will keep killing innocents, feeding Goran, and drinking his blood to remain young. Julia looks directly at Lisa, her voice trembling. I don't want this. I never wanted this. But I'm not a child, Lisa. I may look 13 or 14, but I drank that blood centuries ago. That's why I've been trapped in this age for 500 years. That's why I crave freedom, to live, to love, to feel like a normal girl again, Lisa. Overwhelmed, struggles to believe her. Lisa does exactly as Emma ordered, but her mind is still haunted by Julia's words. Distrust runs deep, and she refuses to believe Julia until Julia reveals shocking details about Tracy, Tony, and Madison. Lisa is stunned. Julia could not possibly have known about them unless she was telling the truth. Finally, Lisa begins to trust her. Julia then leads Lisa through a hidden passage beneath the mansion. Along the way, they cross paths with Aurora, who is also headed toward the cells. Suddenly, Emma appears, searching for Julia. Thinking fast, Julia distracts Emma and sends Lisa forward alone. Luckily, Emma doesn't notice Lisa, who continues to secretly follow Aurora. Before heading down, Lisa picks up a weapon for protection. The underground path is long and eerie. At one point, Aurora senses someone is tailing him but brushes it off. Unfortunately, Lisa makes a noise, forcing her to hide quickly. While hiding, she discovers piles of severed body parts, rotten and crawling with worms. From the clothing, it's clear that these sacrifices have been happening for centuries. Meanwhile, Aurora enters Tracy's cell. He touches her, but Tracy strikes him in desperation and attempts to escape. Terrified, she stumbles, hitting her head hard against the floor and losing consciousness. When she wakes, Aurora is branding a heated knife across her face, burning her skin while she screams in agony. Hearing the cries, Lisa rushes in to save her. At that moment, Aurora drags Tracy toward the cursed well, preparing to throw her inside. Tracy clings to the stone wall with all her strength. Suddenly, Lisa strikes from behind with the weapon, knocking Aurora unconscious. Though incredibly strong, he is still human, and the attack works. Lisa hauls Tracy out of danger, but their relief is short-lived. As they flee, a nail pierces Tracy's foot, impaling it completely. Lisa painfully wrenches the nail out, but they have no time to recover. Back in the dungeons, Aurora regains consciousness. He discovers the stranger's cell open and the stranger dead. That can only mean one thing. Goran, the demon, has been freed. Terrified, Aurora realizes he cannot fight such a being. He offers himself as a sacrifice, and Goran devours him alive. Centuries ago, Emma had trapped Goran in that very well, sealing it with Latin spells. But thanks to the stranger's escape attempt, The demon has broken free after 500 years of imprisonment. Meanwhile, Lisa and Tracy try to escape, but are intercepted by Marcus, armed with a crossbow. At first, Lisa believes he has come to help, but to her horror, he shoots Tracy directly through the mouth, pinning her lifeless body to the wall. Shocked beyond belief, Lisa realizes Marcus has been part of this all along. Marcus orders Lisa inside as the blood-red moon rises above. Emma forces Lisa to restore the painting. Slowly, the image becomes clear, revealing not just Emma, but Marcus too. Both have been alive for centuries, preserved by the demon's blood. One of them, however, appears old and frail, frozen in the state he was in when he first drank the blood. Lisa notices something crucial. In the painting, Emma is holding a piece of paper. It contains the very spells used to summon and bind Goran 500 years ago, after Billy's sacrifice. These same spells trap the demon in the cursed well, cutting him off from ever returning to his own realm. Imagine his fury, 5 centuries of rage and torment. Just then, Julia bursts in, threatening to burn the painting. Panicked, Emma orders Marcus to kill her, but Lisa blinds Marcus with a burst of dust removal chemicals. Midnight approaches and Emma, desperate, seizes Marcus's crossbow and shoots Lisa directly in the stomach. The next day dawns, signaling the end of the curse. Proof of this is immediate. Emma, Marcus, Dorca, and the old man who had remained frozen in his aged body for centuries begin to wither even further. The frail old man turns to ash first, his body too weak to withstand the curse breaking. One by one, the others follow, crumbling into dust as their stolen youth evaporates. Julia too begins to change. For the first time in centuries, she starts to age naturally. From a teenager, she matures into a young woman, then into an adult, and finally into an elderly woman, before her body too collapses into ash. Yet Julia dies with a smile, relieved to finally escape the torment of being trapped for 500 years inside the body of a 13-year-old girl. But Goran, the demon, is still alive. He storms toward Lisa. Quickly, she blocks the door and reads the spells inscribed on the parchment Emma once held in the painting. Just as Goran bursts inside, Lisa finishes the incantation. The demon freezes. Because these weren't just binding spells, they were control spells. Lisa commands Goran to return to the cursed well, and he obeys, trapped once more. But the curse has already reset. The red moonlight touched the painting. That means Lisa now inherits the responsibility and the burden of maintaining the curse for the next 500 years. 30 years pass. Lisa remains young and beautiful, proof that she too has drunk the demon's blood. But unlike Emma, she chooses a different path. Instead of sacrificing innocence, she has turned Goran into a horrific science project. Wealthy elites secretly come to her, paying millions for vials of the demon's blood. Even the president's wife is among her clients. We see Goran, imprisoned and chained, his body pierced with syringes and tubes, drained like a living experiment. Once he gave his blood willingly in exchange for human flesh, but Lisa has flipped the bargain entirely. Now he is forced to endure endless extraction, screaming in agony as doctors draw his blood, just as he once made humans scream. Perhaps this is Lisa's twisted revenge for the deaths of Tracy, Madison, and the stranger. And with that, the well comes to its chilling end. But let's think about what it really means. Originally, the cult planned to sacrifice Lisa so the red moonlight could complete the curse, but the sacrifice failed. That's why the ancient immortals crumbled into dust. Goran's curse requires both the moonlight and a human sacrifice. Without it, those who drank his blood cannot survive. Now, Lisa has taken control. For the next 500 years, she alone will guard the painting. She sells Goran's blood for power and wealth, keeping him alive on forced IV feeds instead of human flesh. Those who buy and consume it remain young, but when the next 500 years arrive, they too may turn to ash if no sacrifice is made. Julia was the only one who welcomed death, relieved to finally escape her unnatural existence. Lisa, however, has embraced the curse and twisted it into her own kind of empire. But the real question is, when the red moon rises again, who will pay the price? So in a way, Lisa was able to see or feel the future, what was happening to the 3 tourists. And maybe this connection happened because drops of her own blood had spilled onto the painting, linking her directly to the demon. I hope you all enjoyed this movie explanation. If you liked it, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you still have any doubts, feel free to drop your questions down in the comments section. I'll be checking them out. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, do hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Till then, stay spooky.